You've been everybody else's first project, but when are you gonna start being your own? I'm Nesha D, and this is I Am My First Project, where we have real and uncomfortable conversations about why you're constantly staying stuck. As a resilience coach, I'm here to show you that most people prefer to be stuck in familiar bondage than unstuck in unfamiliar growth. And if that triggers you, keep watching. So if you're tired of staying stuck, I have a 4-week program that's opening up in January 2026. You get to work with me and we get to build the life that you want to build. Click the link below and let's get to getting unstuck. Today is episode 8 of season 1 being over. Today is the finale and my project status is still in progress. And that's exactly the point. It's okay to be your first project in status because in status means that I'm actually going somewhere. I cannot wait for y'all to get into this lesson because we're gonna do a recap and we're gonna talk about where I am here and now. Because I have so many things that I've learned since the first time that I got on this podcast episode and introduced I Am My First Project. I was in status and I was trying to figure it out. And I still am. And that's the beautiful thing. So anybody that stayed tuned for all of my episodes, which you better have, I cannot wait for you to get into this episode because now you get to see where I am here and now and in the present. And we even might have some little spoilers about a possible season 2. So let's get into it. So let's do a quick recap on what season 1 was about. Season 1 started off with my origin story of my childhood and who I am and who I was as a person. It developed me and gave me authority as your potential and future life coach because I have this beautiful program called Mind Rescue and we talked about it. But you needed to know how I rescued my mind because sometimes experience is gonna be the best teacher. And if you've never known a coach to go through something, you might wanna check your coach, you know? So we got into that about my childhood. We talked a little bit about my upbringing and being in cult religions. We talked a little bit about how relationships, episode 3 was relationships of a serial lover girl. We talked about 4, which was some of the mistakes that I made in business. Episode 5 was when your family is your first mean girl. Episodes 6 and 7 have a lot to do with where I was and certain things that were going on, but also freeing myself and what that looked like from escaping patterns and escaping certain regimens or cycles that I was in, what that freedom looked like for me to even build Mind Rescue. And today is all about where I am now. So today isn't about having all the answers. That's not what I'm offering you. Today is about having a conversation, inviting you to my here and now and inviting you into where I am and giving you some of the answers that I do have, but I don't have them all. Because again, my project is in progression, status in motion. And that's better than no motion because I've been there too. It is a constant battle of figuring out what works, checks and balances, and as you know, we talked about our relationship with failure sometimes isn't always the best, but I've been failing, and failing is a part of the process. The beautiful thing is there's always resilience outside of the failure, because sometimes you have to fix your relationship with the word failure, but failure is a part of the process, and I am actually glad that I've been failing a lot. That's a part of the here and now. So where we started when I first got on this camera and decided that I was gonna start my podcast business, I was coaching one-to-one and I was completely burnt out. I was pouring so much into clients and people and I was giving them way too much of my time and investing way too much into something that I was passionate about. But unfortunately, we kind of get into the fact that I was giving away $4,000 worth of value for $400. My systems were the problem, partially, but also the idea of believing in myself, believing that I had a value and believing that somebody was gonna pay that value. I was showing up for clients that didn't do my homework sometimes, emailing consistently, and sometimes they did or didn't read it, and I was giving homework assignment that just didn't always get done. But they wanted the progress, they wanted the results, and they were seeing some of it, but it was partial effort because I was trying to be available to everybody and work with any type of client. And to be honest, I'm never doing that again. I had to learn to get a little bit more selective with the type of clients that I was willing to work with. I had to be okay with being an exclusive coach because everybody doesn't deserve exclusive access. And even though I'm passionate about helping everybody, doesn't mean that everybody really deserves my help or is the client for me. I'm not the type of coach that babysits. I'm not the type of coach that sugarcoats. I am the coach that holds you accountable, shows you who you are, and exposes the lies. And it's gonna get uncomfortable with me. And it's not fair that I pour in all of this effort to your homework assignments and customizing plans for you, and you decide to halfway show up. And that goes back to that $4,000 worth of value for only a $400 lesson. I realized that cheap is not what I was going for. When you don't charge your worth and people don't see the value in what you're offering, they pick and choose when they're gonna do it. And I was tired of people picking and choosing when they were gonna show up for my business because I was picking and choosing them and showing up for them. I wanted to see their growth more than they wanted to see their growth. And we don't do that anymore. We are on the same team, we work together, and we decide to co-author your story. But I am not picking up the pen for anybody that is not ready. And that is why I am very particular about the 15 women that I allow to join my group. Because you need to be surrounded with other winners and other people that have the same mindset as you. I'm not allowing bad company to corrupt the mission that we're on. The other issue that I'm gonna see in this season is confused identity. I was having an identity crisis, but in my business world. I wanted to be a coach one day, a creator the next day, and an influencer the other day. I was trying to embody all of these different roles, and I couldn't figure out which one to stick with. For content creating, I was just posting random stuff and trying to get the content out because that's what I thought you were supposed to do. For influencing, I was realizing the power of I didn't need all the followers, just like Jesus. He only had 12 disciples, but the influence was magnetic. He was able to pull people in, and that's something I was already doing organically. And then I was trying to put myself as the coach because that's what I want to do. I want to coach women and coach people out of their issues and their circumstances and let them know that they have the power to change anything and transform themselves. But my methods weren't always the best. So what did I end up learning? I learned that people were already looking for me organically. There were already clients and people out there that wanted me, and I just had to make sure that I was making it onto their algorithm, making it at their networking events, or making it into their circle. I'm not here trying to convince people to work with me. I'm just trying to be available because I'm the solution to so many people's problem. And that is what I had to realize, to position myself where I was the solution, where I had tools and I had the ability to tell you, hey, we can navigate this together. Sometimes it was me not believing that I could take up space in certain areas or certain rooms, but it was also me limiting my access, limiting where I was showing up and limiting how I was showing up because I was scared. And that was something this podcast also taught me. From episode 1 all the way to episode 8, that was something this podcast taught me. From episode 1 all the way to episode 8, I had to get my own voice. I had to get comfortable behind the screen. I had to get comfortable with people watching me. I had to be okay with taking up space and have uncomfortable conversations with other people in the room, not just at home behind a camera editing myself. But that was a part of the process. And I gained so much confidence in that process because sometimes you have to be in action to be able to find where the progression is. But I couldn't find out or even determine my own progression if I wasn't moving forward. The problem also wasn't awareness that I was having. It wasn't that I wasn't posting enough content. It wasn't that I wasn't showing up all the time because I posted content for 260 days straight. It wasn't the fact that I wasn't flooding the algorithm or even showing up for my business. It was just the fact that I wasn't making awareness that I had a business. And I didn't have my identity very clear to my audience. One day I was an influencer, one day I was a creator, and one day I was a coach. They didn't know that I had something that I was offering a whole service, that Mind Rescue was a program that they could join every month and that I was working with women, that there were spots to fill and that there was a, let's say, mission or goal that was trying to be accomplished. because I wasn't telling people that I had a business. I was showing up and telling people about problems and solutions to the problems, but I wasn't addressing them or connecting them to make them understand that I was the connection, that you can work with me and we can rescue your mind together. And then also with that came, I was scared to talk about the CTA, the call to action. I was actually scared to tell my audience, my future clients, how to work with me. I was scared to tell them to book a call. I was scared to tell them to email me, DM me. I was even scared to tell them my price that I set, even when it was $400. And now it's $997. And that's sometimes even terrifying because I felt like I had to condition or explain my price to people because I wanted people to think that working with me was gonna be all of these things, or I had to convince them. But I have the solution. I offer freedom, and it's a mind rescue program. And one thing I've learned is people are gonna pay for freedom. People pay for vacation, people pay for escapism, people pay for the comedy shows, people pay for their shopping addictions, people pay for the drugs, people pay for the alcohol, the gym membership, all of these surface and external level things people pay for. And I had to realize that they were gonna pay for me too. And I had to be okay with offering it. And not just offering it in a full payment plan, but also offering it in multiple payment plans, letting people know that it was accessible, because I can work with payment plans, but what I can't work with is someone who wants to do payment plans on their success, payment plans in their efforts. We don't need half of you one day, 25% the next day. We need you all in, because to be all in, you have to show up with the right attitude and the right uniform with the right expectation. And that's a military term. So if you are a vet, you might get that one. So the biggest lie I believed was that charging a price made me salesy and made me inauthentic, because I was truly passionate about coaching. I am so passionate about my program. I'm passionate about working with women. I am passionate about resilience. I'm passionate about people after setback. I love what I do. I love what I talk about. I am always excited. My content shows it. I always have a happy dance. I believe being excited about your life, because if you're not excited about it, who else is gonna be excited about it? I'm excited why I create my life, but I also do inventory. I tell you all the time about reevaluating certain things, so I have to go back and be able to reread the pages. And that's sometimes looking at old content, looking at my podcast, looking at journals that I wrote, and if I'm not excited in the moment, who else would be excited about being pulled into my story or be excited about pulling into my life? Why would I want to bring people or attach people to these aspects of my life or aspects of my story if I'm not even passionate about it, if I'm not excited about it? So if any of this resonates with you, then you might need to click that link. You might need to book a discovery card with me. And I'm saying it as a suggestion, but it's something you already know you need to do. Why aren't you passionate about your life? Why don't you have a reason to wake up every day? Outside of the kids, outside of the job, outside of making money, what is your reason why? Because every day that I wake up is a blessing to me. I enjoy the life that I curated for myself. I enjoy waking up in the morning because I'm just happy being. And that was like something that took me a long time to be. When you truly like yourself and you like the life that you cultivated, you actually wake up happy. You are genuinely a happy person. And I'm not saying that things don't happen, and I'm not saying that life doesn't get difficult, but I am saying that I enjoy the process. I genuinely enjoy the process of being Nesha and the process of waking up and the process of figuring it out. Because again, my status is in progress. The other biggest lie that I had convinced myself to be okay with is I had been coaching for free. So it was okay to continue coaching for discount, coaching and making it a digestible price to other people. And that was only meaning that I was discounting my passions and the effort that I was putting behind what I put out. I would invest in myself so many times, over and over again. And if I'm being completely honest, I've invested $997 into so many people and so many other things that I couldn't believe that I was okay with discounting the amount of effort that I put behind this. My life experience, the things that I had to learn and go through to create this program were not discounted. I had to go through the full process to get all of the knowledge, to create the workbook, to learn from it, and to actually be able to put it in something that was teachable to other people. And that is something that's priceless. That is something that I'm passionate about. And that is something that I'm gonna continue charging about, because it doesn't make me inauthentic to show up on camera and tell people that I have a program and that I have a price, and the price is the price. It means that I have boundaries around my business, and I have something that I am passionate about, and I wanna share that with somebody else. I wanna help somebody else, but it's gonna cost them something, just as much as it costs me something and cost me something. Because remember, you've watched all my episodes, so you know the journey on what it took for me to even be sitting here right now. So when are you gonna take your journey? When are you gonna lock in and be like, I'm ready? Don't wait for another January 1st. Don't wait for another, I'll start when my friend starts. Start now. Make that decision today, book the discovery call, and come in. Come into my world, and let's create a world that you're passionate about. Because you see the happiness on me. Y'all always comment on it. Y'all are in my DMs asking questions. So why not get closer and kind of figure out what that process would look like if you decided to lock in on yourself before the end of the year? Because 2025 has a lot more to offer. So let's see what you're gonna do. So one of the biggest things that I want you to get from this section is, any business owner, stop apologizing for your price. Your price is the price. That's the standard. And that's your boundary for your business. Anybody that creates a business is so passionate about their baby that they have put so much into it. And nobody knows what it's like to build as an entrepreneur except you. And especially when you're building, when you have so many other things on your plate. I am literally in school with my master's program. I'm in the military. I'm building this business. I'm still a teacher on the side. And I'm still cultivating my life with all of the other things that I have and all the social clubs that I'm a part of, because community is such a valuable thing to me. So your discounts is self-sabotage, and you are the only thing that's gonna continue stopping you from being great. So lock in. And we're still in progress. That is the beautiful thing about this episode. And I'm gonna keep saying it, so be prepared to hear it, because I don't have all the answers, and I'm not expecting you to have all the answers. We're just where we are. So what I had to learn is every single piece of content that I posted had to have a call to action. I could be an influencer and a coach simultaneously, so I had to merge them together. That was one of the lessons that I had to learn. It is okay to call my audience out, and it was also okay to influence them, because I was doing that organically and naturally. By the way I talked, by the way that I showed up, this was something that was organic to me, so I didn't have to think about it too much. But CTA, expecting people to do something by calling, messaging me, or even engaging with my content, that was a little nerve-wracking, but now we're doing it. I had to give my audience a storyline. I had to grab their attention, bring them in, but also told them what to do next. Hey, this is my page. What do I offer? Why are you here? Who can I help? And what's your next step? Book a discovery call. If you want and you're ready and you don't need the discovery call, well, lock in, do the application. Those are things that they needed to know what to do. Maybe it was sometimes just answering a question on the post, but I had to give them some type of direction, because I got their attention, but what was I supposed to tell them to do with it? I had to use that. I had to understand that I wasn't offering a motivational page, but I was offering a business page. I was just able to find a way to create content. I had to realize that I was running a business page and not a motivational page. I had to be serious about my business, because the only person that was gonna be able to be serious about what I was supporting or what I was pushing out was me. So I had to realize that, hey, this is not about pushing out content to motivate people. That's great and all, but I was actually trying to coach people. I was trying to pull people in to a program, but also gain a community of women and people that were actually passionate about the things that I was talking about. I didn't just want followers. I actually wanted engaged audience that supported my mission and my dream. And actually, I'm really happy about it, because those are the people that are watching my podcast. Those are the people that follow my content. Those are the people that like my influence, because I started speaking directly to my audience, not to everybody else, not being digestible for all to have access to. I started being exclusive with my mission and understanding that I had a specific audience, and it was okay to only be accessible to them. The next one was really hard for me because I had to start limiting some of my social events. I had to stop going to certain run clubs. I had to stop going outside all the time. I had to really lock in on some of my things. And I didn't do this perfectly because I still wanted to be outside. I was having FOMO, a lot of FOMO, because I didn't want to miss out. I was able to create such a great community, and anybody that knows a season of isolation that God puts you in, after it, you want to be as free as possible. You want all the friends, all the people, all the connection, and I was eating it up. Gluttony, you can say, but gluttony for the community, gluttony for the friendships, gluttony for all of the relationships, and it was actually costing me so much business time, creating time, content time, and I felt like I had to pick one or the other instead of finding balance. That was something that I had to learn, and I'm still learning because, again, we're real and honest on this show. I am in progress. I don't have it all together. Sometimes I still struggle with saying no. Sometimes I still struggle with overbooking myself. And sometimes I'm still the burnt out coach because sometimes I don't trust the vision. Sometimes I'm scared of my own capabilities and my own success because when I start seeing it work sometimes, I'm the weapon that can form against myself. Because I'm not a coach that's gonna sit here and say I have it all together and that it's all perfect and that I have all the answers. Because I don't. And that's what I think makes me so different because I'm authentic and I pull you in on the journey with me and let you know that we can figure it out together, but I've been where you've been. These are the steps that I took. Here's a strategy. Here's the method. Let's dismantle so many of your limiting beliefs because the ceiling is not the limit. It's just the first limit that you get to and you have to push past it. And for those of you that don't know, FOMO means the fear of missing out. I was so fearful of missing out on so many things going on. And I know you are too. But the key thing about that, the really big secret that I had to realize, the outside, it's not going anywhere. The outside is gonna be waiting on you. But your business, it needs you now. So lock in and focus. So what in process also looks like. I am about to be 1 year post-divorce, or at least post-leaving, and that's crazy to me. What does it look like, or what did I expect it to look like is nothing of what I could imagine. I did not know where my life would be after divorce because a lot of times people always talk about after divorce, life goes crazy, you don't know what to do, you're not gonna be happy, you'll never find somebody else, blah, blah, blah. Cut the noise. Don't let them people keep you in situations that just don't serve you. And I'm a very big advocate for marriage. I love marriage, I love love. I'm gonna tell people, stay in your marriage, fight for it. Stop staying in these situations and stop using marriage counseling as something that you do for the post-action or the post-reaction. Use it as a preventative. You want to go and start searching for methods to keep your marriage while everything's great and hunky-dory. You don't try to make systems after the fact. You should have systems in everything that you do. So don't let this episode tell you, don't stay in your marriage. I'm just gonna say, make sure that you're happy in your marriage. It is better to say I'm happily married than to say I'm married at all. And I used to go around telling people, oh, I was married, and I wasn't happy. The marriage was not making me happy, and it was pulling out some of the worst versions of myself. And it's because it takes two people. And if the other person has checked out and they said they don't wanna be a part of it, it might be time for you to pack your bags and check out too. But talk to your therapist, talk to your options. That's all I gotta say about that. I'm also in this learning to be seasoned sage. Like, I have to learn what that means. I've been married for 4 years, I've been in relationships for the last 10 years, but what was it like to be single as an adult, to have a job, a big girl job, to be building a business, to building a community, to having my own apartment, to moving in with a roommate? All of these things were so different for me. And that was a part of this season too. I literally went from my own apartment in spring by my job, and that was great, but I was never there. And I was spending a lot of money because secretly at one point in time, I wanted to prove to my ex-husband and other people that I could do it by myself, that after the marriage, life would still keep going, but I was spending so much money and doing so many things for the plot of showing and proving other people that I wasn't living in my right now and right then moment. And so we decided to get a roommate. We decided to be cost effective. And I decided to move on a different side of town and do something different because I had been in Spring for the last 12 years of my life and I needed a new change of scenery. So that was something that I had to be okay with. navigating singleness, navigating with not having a person or a companion. And that was uncomfortable, very, very uncomfortable, because it was new. It was something foreign. I was so used to making decisions with other people attached to them that this was the first time that Nesha got to make decisions for herself and also move just completely in silence. I didn't have to check in with anybody. I didn't have to navigate a relationship or somebody else's emotions. I actually had to sit there and navigate my own, and whoop, baby. Trying to figure you out can be a lot. Sometimes I wonder how we navigate relationships, because I was trying to navigate me and I was struggling. So if you find yourself in that season, it's okay. Buckle up, enjoy the ride. And it's gonna be a smooth ride for some of it and a roller coaster for others. The great part is there's a seatbelt. And the seatbelt is your systems, your accountability partners, your friendships, my program. These are the things that are gonna lock you in and keep you focused. So, just a hint, hint. In this season, I'm also gonna be transitioning from working at a building to working remote, which is awesome and amazing, and it frees up so much more time and allows me to be able to network a little bit more. Super excited about that, because that's in the works right now. And yeah, I get to be able to be in the comfort of my home and teach and educate, but I also still get to build a business, but I'm not commuting anymore, because baby, I commute. And if you know, and you're from Houston, Houston is an hour from Houston, okay? So that's never fun. But now I get to get an hour back in my schedule to be able to pull people in. Another goal in the works in this season of Here and Now is I will now be able, with me being able to put my family as a goal on my list, I was able to get the remote job, and I'm gonna be able to split my time between California and Houston, which is so great for me because I wanted to be able to pour back into my family. When I work with my clients, I do a value assessment. And what the value assessment is basically an opportunity for me to see what you say that's important to you. So many people will say the gym is important to them, their family is important to them, their diet is important to them, or even just their relationship and all these things. Well, I should be able to see what you're prioritizing. I should be able to see what you value. A lot of times, I can't see it. I don't see what you value. And a lot of times y'all be lying. Y'all be lying to yourself, but I was lying to myself too. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because my values my values were showing that I cared about family, but I wasn't being the best granddaughter. And my grandparents are older. And so I said, what can I do better at? Going to California once a year just isn't cutting it for me, so I needed to find the flexibility to be able to visit them more. So what did I decide to do? I said I was gonna go remote and apply for the job within my company, and I said I also was gonna invest more into my business because I want to be able to have that freedom and that flexibility. That was a value, so now we're in motion with that value. So what's your value, and what are you in motion with right now? I'm also still in progress of balancing so many things. So the government shutdown has kind of took a little bit off of my plate because I'm also in the military reserves, if you didn't know. And so the military is a big part of my time as well. That's something that I have to balance on top of recording these episodes in the podcast, on top of my 9 to 5, and on top of building a business, making content, because I'm an influencer and a lifestyle content creator, working with brands and working with people that want to see me push out certain things. And I was just seeing all of these deadlines, all of these objections, and all of these obstacles, and I was like, we have to find some balance. And that's what I'm still navigating, because again, we are still in status, in progress, in motion, trying to figure it out. And another area that I'm still working on is catching myself for apologizing for my prices. I'm still navigating that price, and I'm supposed to be charging more. The value behind my workbook and my time and the research and the experience is literally $4,000. I can prove it time and time again, because again, I told you, I've been life coaching for years for free. But with the community that I've cultivated, I also see the light and the impact that I make around me. And when I step in rooms or I have conversations, people all the time can say, I knew you were a life coach. I could tell you were a life coach. It's fitting. And I make people think. I change their philosophy. You can have a simple conversation with me and you won't leave the same. So just imagine what 4 weeks with me looks like. So realizing that I'm not just a content creator and I'm not just a business owner, but I'm an influencer. I have influence, I have motion. And I had to understand how to cultivate that motion and to pushing out things that I was passionate about. So many times we lose passion and creativity in our thing, trying to stick with trends and systems that the world is using. But again, if y'all haven't paid attention to anything that I've said, I'm only the co-author of my story. God is the ultimate author. And many times, a lot of my strategy was coming from him. And in some points of my life, I saw myself forgetting that he was the master strategist. And so I kept losing focus of the goal or the mission, and I had my hands in way too many baskets. And I don't know about you, but I only have two. But I felt like I was really stretching myself, and I'm pretty sure you probably are too. My main goal is to make people feel uncomfortable. That is literally my mission. And I know that might be controversy because everybody wants to be comfortable, but comfort has saved you from the reality of your situation. We sugarcoat too much of what we do. We sugarcoat too much of what we allow. And if you really had to sit with a lot of your decisions and the versions of you that experienced those decisions could talk back to you, they would tell you the truth in what it is. So we're gonna stop lying to ourselves in 2025, all the way up into 2026, 2027, and so many years to go. Because again, we're rescuing the mind. It starts up here. You have to really, really, really dig in to who you wanna be as a person and stop lying to the version of yourself that's comfortable in those lies. Lying to yourself should be the uncomfortable part. But unfortunately, me telling the truth and exposing you, that's what's uncomfortable. So I'm not gonna apologize for being uncomfortable because you're too comfortable in your lies, your delusions, and all of the things that you've settled and said was okay. I'm not going to feel bad for not accepting what you keep allowing because we're done with that. We're tired of it, and it only gives us the same cycles, which are broken cycles. So let's break them. And last on that is I'm deep. I always have been, and it really is that deep. I'm so tired of people saying, it's not that deep, Nesha, it's not that deep. It's not that deep for you. It's that deep for me. Mind rescue is my baby because I needed my mind to be rescued. And until you know, and until you've been sick and tired of being sick and tired, until you questioned your purpose on this earth, until you questioned the family and the people around you, until you questioned your vision and your passion, or even if it was worth it, you can't tell me it's not that deep because it might not be that deep to you, but baby, it's deep over here. And my mind is deep. My conversations are deep. My purpose is deep and my passion is deep. My community is deep. And that's beautiful to me. I'm excited about the deepness that I talk about. And you should be excited about yours. Because if you want to stay in shallow waters, that's fine, baby. Stay in them shallow waters. But I done took off the floaties a long time ago, and I was tired of wearing floaties in shallow waters. You don't even need them. But you are so busy trying to coddle your own feelings and your own situation that you don't even realize how deep you really are in your shallowness. So, if it fits, wear it. So, what am I really saying about all of this? That you don't have to be perfect to be your first project. You just have to be willing. I think I talked about it in episode 1 or 2, but one of the beautiful things that my therapist told me was, any person, any relationship or anything, whether platonic, romantic, or even individual, you just have to be willing and capable. Are you capable of making these changes, making these decisions, having these conversations? And if you're capable, are you willing to do so? They go together and you can't have one without the other. And most of the times, people are willing but not capable, or capable without willing. So what do you have to be willing to do? Willing to tell yourself the truth. Willing to choose yourself. And willing to do the work. That's it. You just have to be willing to do those 3 things. So I'm gonna ask you directly, are you willing? Put yourself in this sentence. Put your name right there. Are you willing to tell the truth? Are you willing to choose yourself? And are you willing to do the work? If you are, then what are you waiting for? And one of the biggest game changers that I learned in this season was, you know who you are before you enter a room, and only you know who you are before you enter a room. What does that mean? Stop shortchanging yourself. Stop discounting yourself. You know what you bring and your capabilities when you walk in a room. So when you walk in a room, walk in with purpose, walk in with confidence, walk in with power, and you get to tell people who you are and introduce yourself. Don't let your fears and your limitations and your lack mindset be what introduces you first. Think of abundance, think of life, and think of all the things that you're passionate about, what you went through, and where you want to be. So this is going to be my last and final invitation because, again, season 1, episode 8, the finale, is if you've been listening, if you've been thinking, if you've been watching, if you've just been a spectator this whole entire season, maybe it's time, after all of these CTAs that you've seen, maybe it's time that you come and sit, come and call, come and DM me, come and message me, come and click the link below. But maybe it's time that you join my December cohort. Maybe it's time that you join Mind Rescue program. Again, it's a $997 investment, but we offer payment plans. I have it on there set up for you because I want it to be accessible to the people that want. And the price shouldn't be the problem. The price shouldn't be the limitation because you've been trying to escape way too many times with vacations, shopping sprees, and going out. And all of these other things that only fix the external. You can fake happiness for the moment, fake happiness around your people, but you still wake up drained because you need to be rescued from your mind. And one thing that you can't do, as much as people would love to say it, you can't escape your mind. You can't. You have to rescue it. You have to pull it out and come up with systems and procedures and actually find ways to do an action-based plan on your limiting beliefs that are exclusive to you and explicit to you and say, I'm ready to come out of it, because you have to be willing and capable. So you should join my December 9th cohort for Mind Rescue, or you can join my one for January. They're both gonna be open to only 15 women, and I think you should be a part of it. Stop waiting for now, stop waiting for next year, and all of these other things when you can just get into it now. Make that decision today. So, to tell you what we'll do, what is Mind Rescue? Just one more time. So rescuing limiting beliefs. I've talked about them so many times through all these episodes, it's already embedded in there. You have so many limiting beliefs that you've put on yourself, so let's pull them up. We have to expose them for what they are, because you might not even realize that you're in a scarcity mindset instead of an abundance mindset. We have to reframe failure. I told you at the beginning that I was failing, and I'm okay to say that because I don't have a bad relationship with failure. Failure is a part of the journey. Failure is a thing that lets me know that it's time to pivot, it's time to turn away, it's time to figure out another system. Failure lets me know that I'm still in progress. The problem is when you accept failure. See, I don't ever accept it. I just accept the fact that I'm in motion, I'm in progress, and I'm figuring it out. I'm allowing failure to be the pivoting stone or the communication in my systems to let me know what is or isn't working. Rebuild mindset. So after I dismantle everything, because I told you, I come in, we talk about your values, I let you, tell me all these beautiful things that you care about, I expose you for the liar that you are. I then have to rescue you, but I also have to help you reframe. For every limiting belief, we have to replace it with a new belief. And that's not always the easiest, because sometimes some of our beliefs are so embedded in us that we miss it. And so we have to reframe them. And last but not least, we have to turn the setback into a comeback. I have to be able to give you the power to believe that your mess can be a message, that your test was a testimony. So we hype that up, because you didn't go through all of these experiences for nothing, but you have to be able to co-author alongside them. Your experiences are gonna either make you a victim or a victor. I teach you how to be a victor. You've probably already been okay with being a victim. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, if any of that is something that you want to be a part of, that's the program. That's the price. That's the invitation. I'm asking you to join me because I want to work with you. And I promise that I'm going to bring all the energy, all the passion, but I'm also going to ask that you bring your game day face on and your expectations of changing, your willingness and capableness. Because if you show up willing and capable, I can help you with the rest. So this is my final goodbye, and I am so sad, but this is a bittersweet goodbye. This is literally episode 8 of season 1, and I did it. We did it. Y'all sat through all of these uncomfortable lessons with me, all of these uncomfortable conversations. I exposed my business. I exposed my lies. I told y'all about my origin stories. I told you about my failures, and I brought you in. And it wasn't the most comfortable podcast for even me to watch, because just like y'all are watching it, I might be behind this camera, but I have to sit and watch after the edits and watch what I said. And sometimes I'm having conversations with my sister and mom wondering, oh my gosh, did I really say that on camera? Did I really say that? Is that gonna be on the internet forever? And it is. But none of that matters as long as I know that I'm making the impact that I'm supposed to be doing. I'm influencing, I'm bringing people in. So again, I'm gonna say goodbye. I'm so grateful that you decided to be uncomfortable with me. And as always, thank you so much for watching I Am My First Project. And this was again, season 1. I can't wait to see y'all again in 2026 with season 2. Goodbye.